We were forecasted to have our first hard freeze last night. It didn't happen, but I thought that it was going to happen, so I went out yesterday evening and I picked all of our peppers that we still had on the vines, because one hard freeze, those pepper plants will be gone. Now, some of my peppers, you can see are fully turned like they should be. Here's a Marconi down in there, some yellow ones and some red ones. These are all sweet peppers, but a lot of them are still green. But I don't want any of them to go to waste. So what I'm going to do with these, I already have some that I've dried, some that I've put in the freezer, but I'm going to make pepper jelly out of these. So pepper jelly, if you've never had it, it is sweet, so there's a sweetness to it. It uses sugar just like most jellies, but then there's the pepper taste. Now if you like hot stuff, you can certainly use hot peppers to make your pepper jelly out of. I don't like hot stuff, so I don't do that. Or you can use a mixture. You could use a few hot peppers and a few sweet peppers. You could do it that way. So pepper jelly is really good a lot of different ways. I love to use it over some cream cheese and then with crackers. That makes a really pretty, like if you have to go somewhere and take a snack or take an appetizer, or you just want an appetizer for a party or something that you're having, just pour some pepper jelly over top of a block of cream cheese and serve crackers, and there you go. That's how easy it is. So it's really good like that. A lot of people use it to baste or to use in some of their sauces or their marinades that they use for meat. So you could pour it over meat, or you could brush the meat with it because it has that sweet peppery taste, you know. Miss Cindy, my mother-in-law, she likes to use jelly. She'll use not just pepper jelly but other jellies too as the little bit of sweetener in her salad dressings that she makes. Of course, she's not using a lot, but just a little bit. You can use jellies like that as a sweetener too, because they are mostly sugar, of course. My favorite way probably to eat pepper jelly is with cornbread, especially fried cornbread, like a piece of fried cornbread, corn fritter some people call it, hoe cakes other people, or journey cake. I have a video so you can check that out. But just with a smear of pepper jelly on it, oh my goodness, it is so good. So there's really a variety of ways to eat pepper jelly if you've never had it. And if you have had it, you've probably got your own varieties that I hope you'll share with me on various ways to use it. So please share that. But now I'm going to show you how to make pepper jelly. So now that I've got the peppers de-seeded, I'm going to put them in a food processor and chop them. But you have to be careful with peppers, because before you know it, there's so much water in them. In a food processor, they will just go to a liquid, which I think the recipe would still work if you do that. You've not ruined them. But if you want little pieces of pepper, you need to kind of just gently pulse it till you get them to just chopped fine. Now, I'm using a mixture of whatever was left in my garden today, so my jelly is going to end up being like a green color, which is fine. It will still taste great, but if you use only red peppers, it makes a really pretty red pepper jelly. And if you used hot peppers, of course, and I think that would be good if you used a mixture of hot and sweet. Hot peppers, for me, if I cut up hot peppers, I have to wear gloves or my hands throb the rest of the day. Even jalapenos, which is not really hot, do me like that. I have just a sensitivity to them somehow. So you need to be careful or be mindful of that. Now the other recipe, I'll put the recipe down in the description, but what else? You're going to need 4 cups of chopped pepper, whatever variety mixture that you want. You're also going to need a half a cup of cider vinegar, a half a cup of water, and I'm using a low, you need a box of pectin. I'm using a low sugar variety, so for this recipe it takes 3 cups of sugar. If you use regular pectin, you just need to read on there. There'll be a recipe for you to read, and it's probably something more like 5 cups instead of the 3 cups. So now I'm going to put these in the food processor. So I got my peppers all chopped up. I had more than 4 cups of chopped peppers, the ones that I'd picked last night. I had almost enough for 2 runs of jelly. So I got some yellow peppers that I had in the refrigerator out and chopped them up quickly to make my 8 cups. So I'm going to make a double run of jelly. Now there's tons of varying opinions out there that people say you shouldn't double recipes, jelly or canning recipes, pickle recipes, those kind of things. I don't think so much about pickles, maybe. Anyway, there's a lot of controversy, you would say. Some people that say you should never do that, you should never double them because you would have bad results. And you should probably listen to them if you want to. But for me, all the years that I've been canning, if I'm making jelly and I have almost enough for another one, I have like made a whole run of something and a half a run, or especially I'm happy when I can double it. And I've had really good success doing that. But you, by no means, don't have to do that. It's just personal preference. But for me, doubling recipes like this since I was so close, I actually had 7 cups, so I only needed 1 more cup. And thankfully, I had extra peppers in the refrigerator that we hadn't eaten, so I was able to chop those up to add to it. So I'll be able to make a double run of jelly. Okay, I've got my peppers in a large stock pot. I've got the heat on about medium. And you can see how pretty it is. The red and the green looks like Christmas, doesn't it? But it'll probably all turn into the same kind of green, maybe like a light green color anyway. So now the first thing you do is you want to add your apple cider vinegar and your water. And I've just mixed them both together, so we're going to pour that in. Stir it around, and then Sure-Jell has kind of changed. You used to, and there's other pectins, so you'll just need to read on them their directions. But used to, you just poured in the pectin right in this and stirred it up. Now they suggest that you take 1/4 cup of the sugar that it's going to take, and you mix the Sure-Jell with the sugar with the 1/4 cup in a bowl, and then you put that in before you stir it in like that, and then we're going to let this come up to a boil. You just stir it in well. And I have some jars and some rings over here in a simmering pot of water. You can also sterilize your jars in the oven or in a dishwasher, just whatever you prefer. So we're going to let that come up to a boil, and then we will add our sugar all at once, the rest of the sugar. So now that the mixture's come to a boil, you can see it boiling there. I'm going to add all the sugar at once, all the remaining sugar. We've already added that 1/4 cup. You just need to stir it in. Make sure it's all incorporated and begins to melt, and then once we'll bring this mixture back to a boil again, and then once it comes back to a boil, we'll be ready to put it in the jars. So now we're at a full rolling boil. We're going to let it boil for 1 minute. So now that we've let it boil for a minute, we're ready to put it in the jars. I have some jars simmering in the water over there, but you can sterilize yours any way you'd like. And you can turn the heat off now that you've let it boil for the minute. So when it comes to what size or how many jars this actually makes, I don't really ever worry about that because I use what jars I have on hand, and some are as little as the one I'm using right now, and then some of them are like, you can see how little that one is, and then some of them are pints or half pints. So I don't worry about that part. I just kind of go for it. But the recipe says that it will make, I think it was 6 quarts. Let me look. Or not 6 quarts. 6 cups, sorry. 6 cups. So if you wanted to figure out how many jars you needed if you don't have enough on hand. And these little jars, they make a really good gift for people. So if you just want, especially someone that maybe you're not sure if they would like pepper jelly, or maybe they live alone. So those are really handy for that, but also handy for if you just want to open one to use in a, like we were talking about, with some meat as a marinade or something like that. So you don't want to open a whole jar, just something small. But I mostly just do it because that's what I have. Once you start canning, whether it's making jelly or doing something else, you kind of find your way of doing things, whether what you like, how, in what order, or what kind of utensils you use, or that kind of stuff. And once you find that rhythm, kind of, that's how you ought to do it. Is the way that I look at it. I don't do things exactly like Granny does, nor should I. I need to figure it out for myself. A lot of people use the little, and I use them sometimes, the little magnet thing to help you get your taps out of the hot water where you've sterilized them. But most of the time, I end up hanging it on the pot and it falls off, or because of the magnet attracted to something else. I don't know, or maybe it's just all the years that I didn't have one, but for me it's easier just to use tongs to make sure that I get a hold of what I need. Also, if you get any drip any on the top, you need to make sure that you wipe it off. Okay, that's my last jar, and I even have a little bit left over that I can eat with my dinner. I'm about to eat dinner here. So now, what do you do once they're in the jars? Well, if you go by the canning experts, they'll tell you that you should water bath it for 10 minutes. I grew up in a family who did not water bath their jelly. If jelly, they just put it in hot jars with the liquid. The jelly was hot and the jars were hot, and then as they cool, they seal themselves. But you can definitely water bath it for 10 minutes. And that would probably help it thicken up some too if you're worried about that. And that's what all canning experts will tell you to do. So now let me clean up my mess and make me some fried cornbread, and we'll see what it tastes like. So I've got some of my mess cleaned up, not all of it, but I did fry myself up a piece of cornbread. I've got my usual salad for my dinner. And now I'm going to taste some of my pepper jelly. You can see it's set up really well, what I poured out in here. I just heard some of the jars pop, so they're over there sealing. So this is the best, my favorite way to eat it. So good. Of course you have the sweetness of the jelly, of the sugar. But you really have that wonderful pepper flavor if you like pepper. And since I use sweet peppers, it's not hot at all. But you could certainly use spicy ones. You could usually, or certainly make it spicy if you used hot peppers. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how I make pepper jelly. If you're a regular fan of pepper jelly, I hope you'll leave a comment and let us know what your favorite way is to eat it. Is it like on cornbread like me? Maybe it's with cornbread and beans. Maybe it's some other way altogether. As always, I hope you'll continue to drop back by often as I celebrate Appalachia, which is a whole lot of putting up food for the winter.